My name's Conor McLeod. We're in South London. I'm originally from East Kilbride, just outside Glasgow, and I collect retro football shirts. I probably have about 200-300 shirts in my collection. I would say it's drastically increasing. I keep buying them with the intent to sell, and then never do sell. So the number never really decreases, it only constantly increases. Every time I get a new shirt, I try it on, take some photos in it. Like the collector gene, I think's always been in me. Like I've always collected things since I was younger. Football shirts, it would have started Euros, the 2020 Euros, but then they got delayed to 2021. I'm into classic football shirts and bought a Scotland top for the Scotland-England game. And then after that, I just slowly started becoming more and more fascinated with like old school football shirts. My earliest memory of football shirts would be like the 2002 World Cup. One of my dad's mates is Italian, and it's one of the first shirts I remember like craving to watch football. I think because my dad had all his mates round, like I was always having my friends round, everyone wanted to watch the football. However, I've seen like photos of myself like as a kid dressed up in like Rangers tops from my dad, Scotland tops from my granddad, different shirts like that. In Scotland, I'm a Rangers fan. I mean, people always say in Scotland, I think it's because I'm so used to being in England for the last like 6 years, where everyone, you say the Scottish football team you support, and then everyone says, what English team? But I've always supported Man United as well, since I was a kid, because of David Beckham, then Cristiano Ronaldo. And then I've always been a Roma fan as well, because of again, I've had a fascination with Italian football, and I was obsessed with Francesco Totti, so I ended up making me a Roma fan. The best decade for me for football shirts would be the 90s. I think the 90s shirts are unmatched, they're so nice. My dad's a Chelsea fan, so he passed me down a lot of old Chelsea shirts. I have loads of Man United shirts because I'm a Man United fan. I don't feel as precious about wearing other teams' shirts now or collecting other teams' shirts. I have both West Ham, I have Millwall, because obviously I stay in South London now, like Crystal Palace, Wimbledon. I probably have I'd say maybe like over 100, 150 of my shirts, like almost half I would say are made up probably of like English teams, Premier League teams, and then the other one would be Italian, which I feel a wee bit more precious about not wearing other Italian teams' shirts, because I actually really support Roma. I've went to Roma games and stuff like that, so I try not to, but I went in an Inter Milan game recently, so like I have an Inter Milan shirt in my collection. I went to a game at the San Siro, but I also done the tour, and it was just as Inter Milan, it was this season. They had changed the sponsor, because they have sponsored by Paramount, so they changed it, so they had Transformers originally, and I was like, oh, that's quite cool. But they changed and they done like a one-off of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I went to the club store, and I was like, because they were wearing it the game that I was going to see, and I was like, I want this, like, it'll be a memory, it's my mate's 30th what we're going for. And I was like, do you have it? And they were like, sold out completely, we ain't gonna get it back like for maybe a couple of weeks, if that, it'll drop online. And there was a mannequin sitting wearing it, and I was like, what about that one? And the woman went away to like go and see, like, can I sell him this one? The guy came back, and then it had Lautaro Martinez in the back, which I didn't really want a namesake, so it was going to cost me an extra like 40 euros for a name that I wasn't that bothered about. But I was like, it's the last one, I need to take it. It will remind me like forever of that time, like being in Italy with my mates. I'd say rare shirts I have in my collection. This is probably one of the most expensive shirts that I've got or purchased, and I think most people always want shirts in long sleeve. Like if you can find a shirt, it's so much rarer to find it in long sleeve. So I have a couple of like ones like this, a 1994-95 Dortmund long sleeve shirt, a Juventus pink in long sleeve. So I think a couple of my more rarer pieces are like football shirts that I have, but in the long sleeve versions. I have an Italy training shirt from the 90s, which is stunning, that I managed to actually get quite cheap, never knowing it was like how actually rare it was to find. Same with some of the Millwall shirts I've got beside me, like ones that I've never seen anybody else have like in collections. I think the smaller the club is, obviously there's less shirts produced or less shirts like kept about, whereas something like the Man United shirts will obviously be quite expensive because they're like high in demand, like old Man United stuff, old Liverpool, old Arsenal. Like some of the old Adidas and Nike stuff is lovely, one of a kind, beautiful. And they were always producing like different designs. and different designs for different clubs. Whereas now, because I think they dominate the market, it's always like you look at the Euros shirts and it's just templates of every country having the same pretty much shirt with a different colourway. So that kind of sours me towards Nike and Adidas, even though there's stuff in the 90s and that was like amazing. I would say Asics for me, purely because it's a brand that I wouldn't associate with football shirts, but some of my favourite shirts, like this, is Asics. The Millwall stuff I was talking about earlier is Asics, and I think like for me that, because you're not seeing these brands making football shirts anymore, Fila, you don't really see wearing them, whereas I associate them so hand in hand with West Ham. Reebok I associate with Liverpool, don't really see them making football shirts anymore. Leacock Sportif, Lotto, all these different brands that used to make football shirts, and you don't really see it anymore. It's dominated by Nike and Adidas. I'd say with the fashion brands collaborating with football teams is nice. It incorporates that kind of way of like, well, maybe football tops will be seen as more high fashion. There's obviously footballers that are doing it. Hector Bellerin being like the one that comes instantly in my mind. Jordan Cools as well done it with. So I think it's always a good thing. The price point of them obviously is extortionate because they're usually like one of 100, one of 250, one of 1,000. But like, I like that like some football teams are bringing more fashion into it. There's an Italian club, Venezia, that are making shirts like this all gold one, which I think is one of the nicest shirts that's been released in the last like 10 years. I don't think I've ever seen them wearing it in a football game, or like I can't find a photo of them wearing it when I've searched it like on Google, whatnot, gone through their archives. So I think it was purely as a fashion statement piece, and I think that's nice because I think then like it'll incorporate people bringing like football shirts into high fashion, wearing it with outfits, being able to go. Because where I'm from, like in Glasgow, because it's so dominated with Rangers and Celtic and that, you can't wear football colours in a pub. And it's still that kind of way where you go to certain pubs and it's like, no football shirts, no football colours. My most sentimental valued shirt would be the Italy 2002 World Cup shirts. Like my dad is so like shaped everything to do with like football for me. I love football, like it's all like, it's mainly the thing me and him will talk about. He ran my football team when I was younger, that I just think like, and that's my first memory of liking football, was that summer. So to be able to get that shirt, which I actually have just bought, and it's not arrived yet, but I got it again, long sleeve with Totti in the back, who's my favourite player of all time. But I would say that's my most sentimental shirt, just because like the memories it brings back. But I also have like a couple of shirts that I don't look at them so sentimentally, but like I would never sell them. Like some Chelsea shirts, because my dad gave me them. Or like an AC Milan shirt that I always remember my dad wearing when I was younger. I would like to get to the point where like I sourced football shirts for people or sold football shirts or something like that. I was involved in it in some way, because it's obviously something I'm super passionate about. The only thing is I'm too, like whenever someone buys, even when I list football shirts to sell them, as soon as someone buys one I go, I don't want to send it. So like that's my only thing. I would need to like get over that and like overcome that obstacle. I always like love collecting things, especially because I photograph the shirts. Then it's nice to get ones in, photograph them, and then sell them on, or like send them to other people, or sell enough shirts to like fund one of the ones I was speaking about earlier that's like, oh, must have. I think like doing things like that will make it fun and exciting. I think as long as there's still football shirts that I've not got, and football shirts that I'm hunting for, and football shirts that I want, then like, that's what I spend most of my time, you know what I mean, doing.